Our first session is by Mr. Gaurav Mathur, sir, who is. So before I hand over to him, I will like to give a brief introduction of sir. Mr. Gaurav Mathur, sir, is currently heading the product planning function at Maruti Suzuki India Limited, and he's also a member of core product strategy team there. Uh, He's an alumnus of Delhi College of Engineering and MDI Gurgaon, which are both extremely esteemed institutions. And he has a rich experience of 17 years in product planning at Maruti Suzuki India Limited. And he has specialized in various roles related to product strategy formulation, forecasting future market situation and trends impacting customer behavior change, etc. So, sir, firstly, thank you so much for taking the time out to host this session, and I would like to hand over to you the session now, sir.
Okay, thank you, Shriyanka, for giving the brief introduction, and I'm really thankful for the entire team for having me discuss my views with the students of the college, and what from industry perspective, how we are seeing various challenges going forward, and how the students can prepare better, and the industry academia, how collaboration can be done so that some kind of a future we are capable of the various future challenges that are going to come in front of us. So I would like to share. I'll just share my screen. So Shriyanka, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Now, sir.
Yeah. All right. So the topic of the discussion, which I've chosen for discussing with all of you, is future of mobility. Because I come from an automotive background, and there are various trends which are shaping the automotive industry, and a lot of disruptions are happening across the industry, which is redefining the industry. And for automotive, mechanical engineering is the core, and we have a lot of mechanical engineers who are actually building products for the future. So I thought of sharing this perspective to all of you so that you are aware on what are the things which the industry is looking at, and how you can prepare yourself for taking a bigger role when you start your journey for contribution in the industry. So to start with, I mean, just a visualization of things, how we used to, a few decades ago, how we used to commute. Now you have everything on your phone. And going forward, future would be like autonomous cars, where there will be no driver, and you will be going on its own, right? So there's a great shift the way we are going to commute. In the past it has happened, and the future also same kind of thing would be there. And the biggest driver for this would be connectivity and the technology advancement which are happening. So connectivity is basically the key thing which is transforming the mobility landscape. And there are various mega trends which are actually shaping the mobility front. So there are societal mega trends, there are mobility related mega trends, and because of all these trends, the evolution of the automotive industry is happening. So it is very important to understand what are these trends, and how they are going to impact automotive industry and also the related industry which are there. So this slide indicates what are the key mega trends that we understand which are shaping the mobility. So there are four key mega trends. One is the climate change, where there is a lot of focus on reducing the CO2, and all various developed nations and developing nations have taken certain targets of reduction of CO2 by a certain timeline, like for till 2030, with a base year of 2005, what kind of percentage reduction they are going to have. Like, for example, in China, around 60 to 65% they are targeting. US around 28%. India, we have also our government has taken a target of around 35%, and other countries like Japan and Russia. So this is the how various movement towards climate or a better environment which is happening across the globe. Then is the changing demographics. So this graph indicates how various demographics, the various people in 2010 age of the people and 2050 will look like. So the median age is changing, and the Asia basically, or the India is the place where maximum younger generation would be there, which will be in the workforce, which will bring the transformation. Third is the digital technologies. As you see, a lot of all our work is becoming so convenient, and with use of one smartphone and various applications which are based on connected technology, various things that we do day to day basis are becoming very easier. So things which are gaining popularity is in terms of connectivity, better connectivity, from transition from 2G to 3G to 4G. Now we are talking about 5G, right? The blockchain technology, which is going to help in the cyber security and making transactions very secure, and various virtual reality and augmented reality technologies, which are going to make the augmentation very intelligent and the future becoming very intelligent. Then the fourth trend is the rapid urbanization. So, if you look at the overall world population living in the urban areas, it has seen a substantial jump. So a lot of urban development is happening, and within India also you have seen a lot of people moving, migrating from one city to the urban centers, and there a lot of urbanization happening place. So these are the bigger level trends which are globally, which are being seen, and they are the drivers of transformation of how we commute, and they are the base for transforming automotive industry. If we summarize all of these, so maybe you must have read in various global forums or newspapers and media. So these are the four mega trends globally, which in the automotive domain people talk about. So it is like autonomous for safer and fatigue-free driving, connected for accessible and convenient offering, electric, which is like zero tailpipe emission, where locally you do not have any kind of a pollution, and the shared mobility, where better asset utilization is happening and congestion reduction is happening. So these are all the four key trends which are actually shaping the global industry. And if we look these trends, is from India imperative, because India, we are a nation where affordability is the key, and people are living at different strata of the income pyramid, and we have to provide solutions which are affordable yet aspirational. So if you look all this aspect from India perspective, so in Indian automotive industry, like the major contributor to the economy is the auto industry. So auto contribution to manufacturing is almost 49%. Half of the manufacturing GDP is contributed by automotive domain, and to the industrial GDP is around 27%, and it is a biggest contributor in the GST contribution for the government. So because of the economic activities happening, a lot of money being generated and is being again given to the government for better improvement of the infrastructure and other country aspect. And it is actually one of the most one of the industry where, which is actually giving a lot of jobs and employment. So direct around zero point 0.8 crore and indirect around 2.9 crore. So currently, if we look at India from a global perspective, so it's like fifth largest automotive market, and soon it will be becoming third largest after US, China. Currently, Japan and Germany are the other makers who are ahead of India, but going forward, India would be among the top three in future. But as I mentioned, like India has various specific challenges related to purchasing power. Our GDP is like 1/8 of a developed country like US. So our GDP per capita is in PPP terms is around 7,055 US dollar. However, for US it's close to 60,000 US dollar. So there itself, I mean, you can imagine what kind of affordability key the consumers would be looking at. High congestion is the another aspect which is reducing the speed and increasing the emission. So you can see the table where the various cities like average speed of Hyderabad, Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai, and Pune. So those are getting reduced because of the congestion, and because of that, there is increased pollution in the environment. And bigger concern every day you must be hearing in newspaper, there are a lot of pollution related things which are talked about, lot of NGOs talking about pollution, and a lot of regulation being formed for curbing the pollution, right? So and as India, we have very high import
Sir, you're on mute, sir. Uh,
oh,
yes.
sorry. Would that fine?
Yes, sir. You're audible now.
So you were able to hear till now, or
Yes, sir. So we were able to hear till pollution, and you were talking about pollution, sir.
okay, sorry. I think it automatically got okay.
So it got muted once more, sir. I'm not sure.
Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so these are the challenges which I was referring to, like low purchasing power, high congestion, high pollution, and dependency on import bill, and the road accident, higher road accident. So India is ranked number 2 in the world in the accident. So these are some of the how government is looking at things, and forming various policies, regulations, so that such kind of things can be improved in future. So if we look at India imperative and the things which are happening globally, so the challenges and solution for India is like we are a value conscious society where affordable solution is the requirement. There is a lot of high congestion, so connected and shared uh, technologies which can actually reduce the congestion is the need of the hour. Considering the high pollution and import bill, so some kind of an environment friendly product is what we need. And because of the higher accidents, so safer mobility is what the our country is looking at. So if we talk about
Sir, you're muted once again, sir. I think.
happening, okay, I'll just is it fine? Is it fine? Hello?
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Yes, sir. It's fine, sir.
Okay. Okay, so that's the ACEs in the Indian context, which we look at. So our primary requirement is affordability. So affordable solution in every aspect we are looking at, connected and shared, eco-friendly, and safer mobility. So these are the 4 key points which, from the industry standpoint, which are very relevant for India. And recently, I mean, you must have read in newspapers, our Honorable Prime Minister Modi, he has also given a commitment from India perspective in the COP26 that India is going to achieve net zero emission by 2070 and 45% reduction in carbon intensity by 2030, and 1 billion ton carbon emissions reduction by 2030. And we will be focusing on clean sources of energy which are sustainable. So as a country, we are making path towards greener and sustainable tomorrow. So how do we redefine or approach for a sustainable future? So there are a lot of, in terms of mobility, there are a lot of powertrains which are currently being used to power the vehicle. We must have daily experiencing gasoline vehicle, diesel vehicle, CNG vehicle. Going forward, there will be vehicles like hybrids and electric coming up in future. So in the short term, our CO2 reduction approach would be primarily focused on how we can upgrade the conventional fuel vehicles and focus on alternate fuel vehicles. And
So,
going forward,
extremely sorry to interrupt, sir. Your presentation is not visible, sir. I think you need to present again.
oh, okay. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So, were you able to see last few slides or till here?
Yes, sir, we could see this slide, sir.
Okay. Okay. So I was just mentioning like how do we, our vision, how do we transform it into reality, and what should be our approach for sustainable future? So there are various technologies where the industry is working on in having the future powertrain, mix. So currently, you all are experiencing products, and you all would be, driving some cars. Based on the current situation, they are on the current powertrain, like ICE powertrain, either gasoline or diesel or CNG. Going forward, the trend would be towards hybridization and electrification, where the when the economies will make sense, then they are going to transform. The mobility is going to transform into that zone, right? So from short and medium term perspective and long term perspective would be more towards alternate fuel hybridization and electrification. So there will be a technology agnostic approach which would be adopted in future for powering our vehicles. So, what's ahead in terms of future of mobility? So, if we talk about consumers, so the consumer requirements are changing and emerging. So, there is a lot of safety-related aspect which are gaining popularity, and because of the COVID-19 situation, people are giving a lot of preference towards health and hygiene, and there is a lot of affinity towards modern technology, usage of advanced technologies and human machine interface, which actually is connected and gives a personalized experience to the user. So these are how the evolution in consumer is happening. In terms of regulation, like as I mentioned, there are regulations which are like safety, emission. You must have heard about BS6, which is already there, and crash regulation already implemented. But going forward, these regulations are going to become more stringent, where the corporate fuel efficiency regulation are going to come up, and various regulations related to emission reduction are going to take place, like real driving emission, or harmonizing the cycles, or the in safety various features and equipments like ESC, electronic stability control, or autonomous emergency braking, or advanced driving assistance would gain popularity. Moreover, from policy perspective, there'll be EV and other electrified powertrains which are going to take up in shape. Like this is on the right hand side, it's the Bloomberg or forecast, wherein by 2030 it is estimated that 7% of the total market would be EV, and there will be technology drivers where uh, all these future technology which are being developed globally would come into India as well. For example, there are work happening on personal assistance, VR technology, on-ride retailing, air taxi, and for connected, lot of ecosystem related aspect are being made, and how these would transform to into the infrastructure. Currently, only vehicles are connected, but going forward, infrastructure would also get connected to the vehicle, and the communication will happen from not only to vehicle to device, but to vehicle and vehicle to infrastructure. So this is how the transition is expected in future in the vehicles that currently we see. So current car, the future trend is like focused on design and interior, how we can actually appeal a better exterior and better human machine interface, so that it will imply that there will be an increased complexity, increased usage of electronics, and refinements of product which is going to happen. And how do we Indianize these technologies? Because there are a lot of things happening globally, but in global scenario, there are I mean, not concerns related to the money that you spent on those technologies, because their income levels are high. So, in India, if we have to Indianize and make things affordable as per the ACEs which are relevant for India, collaboration, cooperation, and co-creation among various stakeholders is required to meet the changing society requirement in India. So, as you have studied in the college, how do we turn the wheel of innovation in India? So, there are various stages, right, for how innovation to happen, and everything starts with idea. So all of you will be thinking of new ideas, how we can make improve and what are the problems that we can solve. So the number one stage is the exploration, where you explore on various ideas, see various problems, and how you can use various things to solve certain problems. So exploration is the first stage, where all the things need to start with. And various tools like design thinking are currently being used globally to you to I mean do the exploration. Then comes the testing and validation, where you have some ideas and then you evaluate and select some ideas and reduce the funnel, and then do the validation and make some kind of a business model which can actually sustain or in longer run. And then you build on that basic idea, so that it is scalable, growth can be done. And based on that, the scaling and the ROI, or the IRR, like how whether whatever investment that you are going to do, you are going to get return on it. And at the same time, the business will run on its own as more and more consumers use your product or services. So this is how the sustainable innovation will happen. And in industry and in college, we are also doing various exploration related stage. But when you are all in college, the focus on exploration should be maximum, and that's where the industry and academia interaction can happen. So our idea is like how we can activate this innovation funnel with the use of various colleges across India to bring innovation in India. And the biggest tool, as I mentioned, is the design thinking approach, where you identify some problem, you empathize with the target user, like you do observation, do interview, and understand what is the actual need of the user that you are trying to solve, and then define what kind of problem based on the consumer need and insight, what is actually required to be solved. So understanding user is very important in any of the product or service that you design. And then how do you design those product for your user? So first is like you have some kind of a problem, then you ideate and encourage various wild ideas, do brainstorming, and then do some kind of a rough prototyping to give a feel of the product or service that you want to uh, give to the user, who are the target users, and then evolve based on their feedback. And this cycle continues. So my request or suggestion to all of young engineers to think on these lines and use these practices in your daily work and the projects that you are currently doing, okay, so that you can learn. And these are the things which at industry level we are looking at, and we are implying this in our day-to-day work. And as I mentioned about the innovation challenge, so how do we revisit the innovation challenge so that more collaboration between the academia and industry can happen? So anything, all technologies which are developed, they goes through various stages from TRL 1 to TRL 9. So TRL is the technology readiness level. So TRL 1 to TRL 3 is like basic knowledge that you are developing, a lot of research which is happening on various technologies. Then from 4 to 6, you are trying to demonstrate the technology and make some kind of a prototype, and the development of that technology is happening. And then going forward from 7 to 9 is basic. You are actually scaling up the model and you are making some kind of a business out of it, which industry is actually making, so that we can generate revenue as well as the profit for the organization, so that it becomes a viable business. So from insights to viability is what the industry is looking at. So this is how we feel that the collaboration can happen, and the innovation wheel, how we can turn the innovation wheel for India, so that we can come out with some kind of a affordable solution for India specific need. Then I'd like to share some of the examples that as MSIL, Maruti Suzuki India Limited, we are doing in order to support innovation. So one of the initiative is the startup culture, where we are actually under our MAIL program, Mobility and Automobile Innovation Lab. We are engaging with startups across the India and accelerating them and working along with them. And also recently we have tied up with IIM Bangalore for incubation, program for mobility startups. These are creating and driving the power of innovation by collaborating with the startups. Also, we are engaging with various activities on student development like Super and Baha and FE Cycle. So, based on various knowledge that we can give, and in terms of technical as well as financial, and various exclusive research projects with academia, we are actually undergoing along with IIT Kanpur, Guwahati, IIT Guwahati, and IIT Hyderabad. So going forward, we would like to give various increase this engagement to various colleges across India, so that we can bring more innovation across the all colleges, and make some kind of a ecosystem where the innovation starts, right? So this is how we are actually looking at how we can bridge the gap and also do some kind of a innovation along with academia. And then if we look at the ecosystem, because it's not only industry and academia, it's there are a lot of stakeholders which are there, like OEMs are there, component suppliers are there, IT industry, there are a lot of technology related advancement happening, apps are being developed, mobility in terms of fleet operators and taxi aggregators, there are a lot of business model changes which are happening, and R&D and academia collaboration is happening, and our government of India is focused on how we can make in India, and do Atmanirbhar or self-sufficient in order to manufacture and take the demand of India from our own. So in order to make this happen and make this reality, so collaboration between the stakeholder, all the stakeholders are very essential. So that's our approach, and that's what we want you to understand, and align your thinking accordingly. So to sum up, this is my last slide where I would like to thank all of you for your patient listening. And my mantra or suggestion to all of you is like, our government is doing a lot in actually transforming the thinking and bringing some progressive outlook by doing a lot of initiatives in terms of how we can make in India, how we can startup, give some, benefits for the startup, so that startup ecosystem gets developed in India. And so these are my some of the thoughts. Like, we have to innovate and brainstorm, come up with some new ideas, develop India specific technologies, increase localization, and make affordable solutions. So all the things, all the products or services that you guys would be working on going forward, this is kind of a suggestion from my side, that think on all these lines, so that we can innovate together and take our country forward. Thank you very much. So that's it from my side.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, I think we have like one or two questions. If we'll try to.
Yes.
Yes, sir. I'll ask them. So just 1 second.
Right.
Okay. So the first question is, okay. So just according to you, is the self-driving vehicle movement feasible in a country like India?
See, as far as the self-driving movement is concerned, at this stage, India is not ready for it. So there are various levels of self-driving or autonomous cars, level 1 to level 5. So where the various functions can be automated, and the full autonomous, where driver is having no control at all, is the stage where various developments are happening across the globe. So, but these technologies are very relevant in countries like US, China, where the distances were very high, and in specifically in the logistics, where truck drivers are actually driving a lot of distances, and there are nothing to do. So there these kind of self-driving initiatives are gaining popularity, and especially on the commuting people. But for the personal space, I would say globally also it's not ready, and there are various few cities and various few zones where this kind of development or thinking is happening. And some testing, you must be seeing a lot of videos from Waymo and all in San Francisco and Silicon Valley area. But those are still to be, in the developed market itself, it is still under testing, and there are only few companies providing, and there are a lot of issues related to the regulation. In case some accident happens, then who would be liable? So there are a lot of challenges related to the self-driving cars, which is currently under even the technology is under development, and how we are going to make ecosystem which can actually handle this is currently in the exploration stage, I would say. And in India, I think there would be some level of automation will be coming, like level 1 and level 2, where we are giving some kind of a advanced information to the driver. But going to level 5, India is not yet ready, because our infrastructure is not that developed or matured with respect to developed market. So that's the current situation. And going forward, definitely, as the situation improves, infrastructure develops, maybe in India also we may see some level 5 also, but not definitely in a decade's time. That's my view.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So just one more question. How long? Okay. So I'll just take up the question from the chat box then. So it is, you mentioned connectivity and autonomous cars are the solution to the congestion problem and consequently to the fuel emission issues. But aren't congestion and lack of traffic order the main hurdles which make India not ready for autonomous cars? So how do you break this loop? Like, how do you, like you said congestion would be solved by connectivity and autonomous vehicles, but if we are not ready for them, and if congestion is preventing us from bringing this vehicles and modern technologies, how does this work? Like seems like a bad cycle.
Yeah. So, I mean, these are, it's not these are some extremes, right? So, autonomous cars is one extreme, like we are going to one extreme, and then we are talking, but there are various stages in order to reach to that level, right? So currently, if we connect, currently in India, there is no vehicle. I mean, we have started giving telematics or a connected solution, but it's not 100%. It's very limited to only 10% of the overall market, right? So first step is that how we can connect the entire vehicle ecosystem, and then to the infrastructure, and then some kind of things which like how we can give some advanced information to the driver on certain traffic or some kind of a accident or some kind of infrastructure related issues which are there. Okay, all these things can be using connected technologies and V2X. So such kind of use case possibilities exist. So first step would be that, and then going forward towards the self-driving or autonomous cars. So I think it looks very glamorous to talk about self-driving and autonomous cars, but we have to understand about the India realities, how we can solve the current problems of India, and how we can make mobility easy, affordable, and aspirational for the masses is what I think I feel.
Thank you so much, sir. I mean, thank you so much for the lecture. And as Shushman said, we were very spellbound. Thank you so much for taking the time out, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.